Like most grandparents, Myrna House of Reno, Nevada, cherished the time she spent with her grandchildren. On the evening of January 11th, 1990, she was delighted to receive an unexpected visit from them.
I had invited my daughter and her husband to come over and have tacos with me for dinner. Then I get a phone call from my other daughter, Janelle, and she said, "Mom, could you please take the kids for dinner tonight so Richard and I could go out, just the two of us?"
You like Grandma's tacos?
After all the kids had had their tacos, then I relaxed. All the children had gone into the recreational room, and I prepared my own meal.
Can I give you a hand with the dishes?
That's a great outfit.
My mother picked E.J. up. He was soaking wet from the head to his waist, which was obviously the oil. We knew what to do. We knew what to do. We knew to put him in water, that if you get burned anytime, cold is the best thing.
EMTs from Fire Station 8, only 4 blocks away, were dispatched to the scene. An ambulance from 3 miles further away was also sent.
The heat that he was radiating was incredible. In fact, my mother's hands got burned very badly because she picked him up with his shirt on and took him into the bathroom.
First thing I did was put E.J. in the bathtub and started dousing him with the cold water from the faucet.
Ice! We're going to put him on ice!
We were instructed by 911 to put ice on him.
The 911 operator stayed on the line, continuing to give first aid instructions on burns.
And place them around the baby.
We took towels and wrapped him in wet towels from head to his waist.
Where's Richard and Janelle?
And then we took additional towels, wrapped the ice up in those towels, and wrapped it around him a second time.
E.J.'s parents, Richard and Janelle Moore, were at a gym 5 miles away when they received a call.
Hello? It was my brother-in-law, and he said, "You know, Janelle, there's been an accident, and E.J.'s been hurt, and we've called the ambulance. You need to come right away."
When I saw the look on her face, I knew that there was a problem. And she said, "E.J. has been burned." And the first thing that went through my mind was, he's going to be okay. And it almost became a mantra for me because I just kept on saying, he's going to be okay. He's going to be okay. Don't worry about it.
Could break a heart. I've seen boxers look better, beaten to a pulp than E.J. looked. I wish I could go back and change it all. And I can't. A beautiful grandbaby. All burned.
It had been nearly 3 minutes since baby E.J. was accidentally burned by hot cooking oil. His grandmother had wrapped him in wet towels and was trying to comfort him as the family waited for rescue workers to arrive.
The first rescue workers arrived on the scene, including firefighter EMT Joe Lewis.
I find with myself that I can disassociate my feelings from most of the situations I'm involved with.
Where's the baby? In there.
But when children are involved, it affects me.
What happened? Oh, he got burned.
Grease that was solidifying on his body was still warm to the touch. So we had to bring the temperature way down as fast as we possibly could.
I need a towel or a washcloth.
The blisters that had developed from the burn were enormous in size, and the weight of the towels had broken the blisters, and the skin was starting to slough off a little bit. I was shocked a little bit in looking at the condition that the scalding grease had done to his little body.
2 minutes later, paramedic Mike Crabb and his partner John Foster arrived.
While we were driving to the scene, we were trying to anticipate what we were going to find. We didn't know how bad a burn it was going to be. So John was telling me, I want you to go in the house and get the baby and bring him out to me.
Where is he? Right in here, right in here.
The scariest moment was when the paramedic walked in and, without saying a word, picked E.J. up out of my lap and ran out of the house. I knew I had done my job, but I didn't know if E.J. was going to live or die at that time.
E.J.'s parents arrived just as he was being carried to the ambulance.
We saw an ambulance and a fire truck, and we sunk back down again and thought, my God, you know, my son is badly hurt, he could die.
Dad wants you in the back. You're Mom wants you in the front.
E.J. was surprisingly alert. He was crying. He said, Mommy, Daddy, you know, owie, owie, owie is what he kept on saying. And we got into the ambulance, and the ambulance attendant, John Foster, asked me to hold E.J. Maybe he'd be calmer. And where do you hold somebody that hurts everywhere? You know, what do you do?
Mike handed me the child. I put the child in the burn dressing. My heart went out to E.J. the moment I saw him. I thought the baby could die since the severity of his burns were such that the rest of the treatment, like IVs, couldn't be accomplished because of those burns.
He's gonna be fine.
I felt very alone. I felt as if the whole world was watching me, and I felt that I was not doing enough for E.J. as far as his burns go.
Reno has no burn center. E.J. was airlifted to the University Medical Center in Las Vegas, 450 miles away, where he was treated by Dr. Terry Lewis.
E.J.'s burns were both second and third degree burns, and approximately 35% of his body surface area was burned. The thing that concerned us the first night was he did have a burn involving the face and the airway, so the potential loss of airway and suffocating from the swelling that can occur was the biggest concern in the first 24 hours.
The staff at the burn center in Vegas told us that E.J. would be in more pain in 7 days if he survived that long than what he was the first day, because his nerves would start to regenerate, and then they would be scrubbing raw nerves everywhere.
The painful treatments became a twice-daily ritual for E.J. for the next 6 weeks.
Helplessness was one of the major feelings that you have, to have your baby hurt and you can't help them. It's the worst feeling I've ever felt in my life. That was the hardest thing about the whole accident, was dealing with his pain and his struggle, knowing that I couldn't do it for him.
Good boy, good boy. He was an inspiration to everybody in the burn ward down there. Because once a key to survival is to get up and get your body going as soon as you can. And after about 4 days, he was limping down the hallway. He showed me a lot. Too many times when I've had a knee operation or a problem, and I moaned and groaned about getting out of the bed when the doctors told me to do that. It'll never happen again. Because I've seen the ultimate in courage and strength in what E.J. did.
7 months later, E.J. continues to improve. Based on what they've learned, his parents plan to form a local support group for the families of burn victims.
E.J. today shows really no signs of him being in a traumatic accident. He's a happy, loving, intelligent, wonderful little boy. Just doesn't happen to have any hair on the side of his head.
With plastic surgery, most of E.J.'s scars on his head, back, and shoulders can be corrected. but his grandmother's emotional wounds are much deeper.
I think the hardest part for me right now is to look at my grandson and his mom and his dad. And I think I'm always looking where they might be blaming me for it all. I just never want to see that look in their faces. That's been the hardest part.
Since the accident, EMT Joe Lewis has become a family friend.
I would hope that she doesn't feel guilty about the accident. If there is a hero in the story anywhere, I'd have to say that the grandmother's a hero. Grandma took a second-degree burn to one of her hands, so she reacted quickly without regard to her own injuries and got him into the bathroom and cooled him down. If the proper care hadn't been administered from the initial onset and throughout his treatment, I would believe that the baby could have died.
The best thing that's come as a result of this accident is the fact that I really finally was forced to spend some time with one of my kids. I never really realized how important it was. Been involved with him, I felt a lot of pain with him, and I felt a lot of joy with him. Strongly encourage everybody to do that right from the start. Don't need an accident to make that happen.